Now, an additional 5 classified documents have been found at President Biden's Wilmington home by special counsel Richard Sauber.
Yes, folks, the saga continues. More documents found and more updates. Let's get into this. How's everybody doing today? My name is Ty with Right IQ. Thank you for joining me today. And man, this saga is just continuing. I mentioned on the video yesterday that I believe that this wasn't over. And from what I'm seeing, I was right. And I don't think this is the last shoe to drop. I think this is just the beginning. But I have some concerns about the connections that this thing has, and I'm going to go into that a little bit later. But with that being said, let me go ahead and bring in this clip right here to kind of set everything up for you.
Now we're hearing that additional classified documents were found outside of that garage. So whatever justification the president had for keeping classified material in his home in Wilmington, outside of any kind of secure means, a SCIF, what have you, the fact that these documents were found outside the garage completely destroys the president's argument, saying that, oh, the classified material was kept locked next to my 1967 Corvette.
Yeah, he's right. And it completely destroys the notion that we're getting from the other side. That's just a couple of documents. Nothing to see here. It's just an accident. This is not an accident. They're finding documents everywhere that Joe Biden goes. And one of the problems that I see here is that they're investigating themselves. Why are they investigating themselves? They came out so hard against Donald Trump. They started every investigation that they possibly could, accuse him of treason, all of these things. But when Joe Biden comes out and it's shown that he's got classified documents, not just at one location, 2 locations, 3 locations, 4 locations now. One at the Penn Biden Center, that's one location. And then you have another location within the garage, which is not secure. I don't know any garages that are completely secure. I mean, you hear of people's garages getting broken into all the time. That's probably one of the least secure locations in the entire damn house. But then one was in his private library. That may have been secured. I'm not exactly sure. I know he does business there. But into an adjacent room, detached from the garage, probably not secure. And that's probably not where you want to be keeping your classified documents. But it seems like they're strung everywhere. And it came out earlier today that Hunter Biden is claiming that he owns that house and that I'm sure he visits that house regularly. So if he's under investigation for working with China and, tax fraud and all this other stuff, should he really be anywhere near any of these classified documents? But let's talk a little bit about them investigating themselves. Why is it that their attorneys are the only ones involved? Their attorneys and their DOJ, why are they the only ones involved in this investigation? And why, I still can't get my head around, why is it that all of a sudden this is coming out now? Now, I get it why it didn't come out before the election. They didn't want that to hurt them in the election. But why are we hearing about this at all? We all know how corrupt this administration is. Why is this even coming out at all? That's got me scratching my head. I'm not really sure what's going on here. But with that being said, why do they have the ability to investigate themselves? I don't know. Let's find out what Fox News has to say about that.
Much of what we're learning is from the White House itself, like this statement this morning from President Biden's attorney saying these additional classified documents were found. That's taking the word of the White House.
Yeah, see, even Fox News can see that there's a conflict of interest here. There's a problem. See, when they found all those documents over there at Mar-a-Lago, it wasn't Donald Trump's people that were going through there and rifling through Melania Trump's stuff and every other nook and cranny that they could find. That was the Democratic FBI, the Democratic DOJ that was doing that. Why do we not have the same vigor that's happening over there with Joe Biden that we had with Trump? This is very biased. This looks very biased from the beginning into the end. There's no excuse for this. You want to get rid of corruption in Washington? You shouldn't be investigating yourself. And as far as Joe Biden respecting classified information, obviously that's a joke.
The president has insisted he takes classified material and the handling of it very seriously, but what we're hearing right now, just it doesn't look like those the words match up with the actions, Julian.
Yeah, the words are not matching up with the actions. And unless you've been asleep for a very long time, it's been like that for quite a while. This is nothing new to the Republican Party. See, they hold themselves to a completely different standard than what they hold us to. And usually when they accuse us of something, that's because they're doing it. That's why Donald Trump has been found not guilty of nearly everything that they've accused him of. While at the same time, we find out at a later date that the Democrats are getting nailed on these same issues that they're bringing up. But another concerning thing to me that I think that we need to talk about is how many people are walking through that house. How many people saw these classified documents? Because as far as I know, there's no chain of custody. Otherwise, he would not have them. If there was a chain of custody, he would not have them because there are specific guidelines as to even reading classified information, let alone taking them somewhere else, which is never a good thing. But as far as his residence, how many times has he had visitors over there or meetings over there or other appointments that we are not aware of where these classified documents may have been brought up and showed to other people? We don't know that. What has Fox News had to say about this?
There's a lawsuit going on to get a visitor log to find out who has visited the house while the president's been in office, when he is there and when he is not there. What can you tell us about the time the president has spent there? I think it's more than 100 days so far.
That's a good point that they bring up. We have no idea who has been there. They could have been meeting with, high-level personalities, not just from this country, but from other countries. But why is it that if he's going to do business there, shouldn't we know who's coming and going, who has access to these documents, and why they're visiting there in the first place? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's not forget about the Penn Biden Center, where it's completely funded by China.
So you're absolutely correct. The central issue here is what is the type of document, who had access to it, what were they doing at a Chinese Communist Party funded think tank during the former vice president's pay-to-play multi-million-dollar scheme.
Yeah, and that's why the Biden administration is all over this thing, trying to neutralize this situation, minimizing it, saying it's no big deal. Everything was an accident. It happens all the time. We've heard it all before, and we're hearing it again. But this has the ability to really crack open this billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar pay-to-play scenario that has been going on with Joe Biden since 2016 and probably way before that. And if you think that for one instant there's going to be any level of fair treatment on this or fair investigation on this, you're kidding yourself. If you think that this special counsel is there to get to the bottom of it and provide some answers, you're not paying attention. Listen to this.
They appointed a special counsel to look into this. The reason that they did that was to wall off all investigative inquiries. Essentially, Congress is going to try to get in this game. DOJ is going to say, no, we have a special counsel. We'll talk to you about it in a couple of years. You can't have anything related to ongoing criminal investigations of the classified material. But there's another aspect here that I think should be one of the chief focuses of Congress, and it is our litigation and investigative focus. That is the decision by DOJ, the National Archives, President Biden, to not inform the public that on November 2nd, they discovered this material when a midterm election was 6 days away. That is political weaponization. It is election interference on a major scale. Had that information been out there, the public would have been better informed in advance of the midterm elections, and I think we would have had different numbers in the House and the Senate right now.
I really like this guy, Mike Howell. He seems like he's a bulldog, and I'm glad that he's on, let's just say, the side of law and order. We need people like him fighting for us and our values in America here. And it's about time we get some people stepping up. So, thanks Steve Bannon for bringing him on and interviewing him. But he's 100% correct. This is just another example of the left stepping on the scales of our elections to try to tilt it to where it benefits them. See, when it comes to election tampering, it's not just stealing elections, it's also hampering the other side from gaining momentum. And that's exactly what happened here. Because if this information would have come out before the election like it should have, it could have had devastating impact on the election when it comes to the Democrats and the amount of seats that they were able to keep. We legitimately, this is one more example of why we should have had a red wave, and we should have. But with that being said, I understand what he's saying, and he's hitting that point really hard, as well he should. And he also mentioned something else that really rings a bell for me, and that's the National Archives. If you guys remember, the National Archives, the leader of the National Archives, I forget what her name is. I think he's going to talk about that next here. But the National Archives is extremely important in this movie that's playing out right now. Because when it came to Donald Trump, oh man, they were all over it. Oh man, he's missing this, he's missing this, he's missing this. This is a felony, we need to sue, we need to do this and that. I mean, they came out strongly against Donald Trump. But not so much when it came to Joe Biden. Why? Why is that? I'm not exactly sure why, except I am. See, here's the deal. Just like every other organization within the political parameters of Washington and beyond, everything is corrupt. Everything has been taken over by the Democratic Party, whether you're talking about the FBI, whether you're talking about big tech, whether you're talking about medical. I mean, we can't even buy a Pepsi anymore without everything being political. And that's because the Democrats have just soiled everything. And this is just another example of that. Let's hear what Mike has to say about that.
I want the War Room Posse to be familiar with one name here. That is Deborah Wall, the head of the National Archive. She's the lowest learner of this administration. She is a bureaucrat who sat on this information when she had an affirmative duty to disclose it, both ethically and, in my opinion, legally, based on her past practice of disclosing every last thing about Donald Trump for political purpose.
Wow. I haven't heard that name Lois Lerner in a long time. I thought I'd never hear it again, but there it is. She is basically the same as Deborah Wall. And Deborah Wall is a lady that we need to be paying attention to now, because obviously she's an activist, and she has brought her activism into her profession. And so we need to make sure these people like Deborah Wall and Lois Lerner, that is what you call the deep state. It's not people like George Bush and Joe Biden. These guys are not the deep state. They are the face of the deep state. They are the ones that come out and vocalize what's going on behind the scenes with the deep state. But these unelected bureaucrats that are sitting in the background, these are the ones that gave Donald Trump all of the problems that he encountered when he was in the White House. And that, like I said, they're unelected, but they have so much power behind the scenes. They can speed things up. They can lose things. They can really make a mess and tie down the Republican Party, who they don't agree with, and really make the Democratic Party look better. And it's not people like Joe Biden and George Bush and, Bill Clinton. Those are not the deep state. They are the face of the deep state. They are the spokesman for the deep state. The deep state are the ones that are behind that aren't elected and seem to be hard to fire. And so Donald Trump, what he wants to do is he wants to be able to go into the government when he becomes reelected in 2024, go in there and clean house, get rid of all these unelected bureaucrats that want to bring their activism into their jobs. If they cannot be bipartisan or nonpartisan, they have no business being in that position in the first place. That's how the swamp became the swamp, because all of these people behind the scenes that are making decisions about what should happen in the future with your life, my life, and the future of our government. And they're making these decisions, and they are not elected, so they have nobody to answer to. And so I think Donald Trump does need to be able to go in there and just clean house, get rid of all of this activism because, look, leave activism for the streets. It should not be in your job, especially in your Washington job. I understand that there is a difference between a Republican and a Democrat, a conservative and a liberal. I understand that. I get that. But when you are elected to be, like, say, president of the United States, you are not the president of your party. You are the president of the entire country. That includes Democrats and liberals, or Democrats and Republicans. So you have to be looking out for the American people as a whole, and not just be looking out for your political future and your side's political future. So I think it's very important, but I think things are getting ready to heat up. We just got that Congress in there. It's been 2 weeks now? I think 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks, I believe, since they were sworn in, and they're already starting to make some moves. But the church commission that Jim Jordan is going to be heading, I believe, is going to be very, very important as to exposure of these things into the future, and exposing the weaponization of the federal government and all of these three-letter agencies onto the American people and the conservatives. Let's listen to what Mike Howell has to say about that.
You believe your theory of the case at Heritage Range Oversight, they did that to wall it off so they could protect him in the run-up to 2024. Just keep saying ongoing investigation, ongoing investigation. Is that your theory of the case, sir?
Absolutely, and that's where this legal battle is heading. In the House rules package, they adjusted, the new what's called the Church Committee, the weaponization of the federal government. The House rules basically say that the House has access to files related to ongoing investigations. DOJ is going to fight that, very, very hard. Adding in a special counsel adds in another layer of obstructing Congress from getting at that information.
Wow, I'm telling you, these are crazy times that we're living in right now, and the exposure that's going to be happening here in 2023 is going to be very, very exciting. We're going to see things this year, I believe, and I'm no Nostradamus, but I'm kind of seeing things starting to line up in that direction. We're going to see things this year that we have never seen before within our party and within politics in general. And I don't think that this is the end of the road for what we're going to be hearing about Joe Biden and his his document, his classified document. I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about that. I think we could hear that there are more documents out there, and we may actually start hearing about what's in these documents and who might be connected to these documents. I think that this has the potential to really blow open this multi-billion-dollar pay-for-play scandal that is enveloping Joe Biden concerning like Ukraine, the billions and billions of dollars that we sent over there. For what reason? I don't really know. Democracy, something like that. I don't know. China, all the pay for play with China. I think this is going to crack this wide open, and we need to just continue to start exposing this stuff. So it takes an army like you guys to go out there and spread the word. I'm going to keep on this. I'm going to be a bulldog in my own rights when it comes to this, because this is very important to me. Corruption has no place in our government. I know that seems really weird to say, considering our government is so full of corruption, but imagine what our world would look like if we didn't have even a fraction of the corruption that we have in there right now. And some of the things that our Congress is talking about right now, like term limits, transparency, all these things that this current Congress is looking at right now, the Church Commission, all these things have the potential to bring some honesty into our government. But here's the deal. When you have a government like we have, and there is so much power and money involved within our government, we will always be fighting this. And the reason that things got so far out of control is, look, us conservatives, Republicans, we just want to live our lives. We just want to raise our family, watch our kids grow up, go to work, enjoy our retirement. We don't want to mess with this stuff. We want to vote a couple of times a year, and that's it. But if our votes aren't counting, we've got to wake up. If our government is collapsing around us, if we've become the enemy of our own government, we have a problem, and we've got to wake up. And it's time to wake up now. And it's time to start electing people into office that are going to fight for our values and not minimize our traditions and learn from the things that went bad in our past that the Democrats want to tear apart. Our past is extremely important to us because, yes, we did make mistakes in our past. But name a country that hasn't made mistakes. Name a country that has grown and has been all-encompassing as far as bringing in, immigrants from all over the world, lifting up the poor and giving the poor an equal chance to be rich. You know what I mean? Name a country that does it better than the United States. But the Democrats want to rip that apart and act like that's not part of the growing process. And so what we need to do as conservatives, as constitutionalists, as people who believe in our founding fathers and what they stood for, it is time for us to stand up and be counted and not let this happen, not just to our kids, but our grandkids and their grandkids too. Because if we get a handle on this right now, this is going to have a lasting impact. And if we don't go back to sleep, this won't happen again. So I'm glad everybody is waking up on our side, me included. I'm glad everybody is waking up. But now that we're awake, we need to yell. We need to be loud. We need to demand results and demand results from the people that we put into office. And we need to make sure that we are giving the support to the people who are fighting for us, like Jim Jordan. Like, there's a lot of people that are new to Congress that are going to have to prove themselves, and we need to give them that ability to do that. But the ones that get a little bit sideways on us, we need to get them out of there. Like, what's his name? Eye Patch McCain. He's got to go. He's already proven to everybody that he cannot be trusted, that he's a rhino that will vote with the Democrats and agrees with the Democrats a lot more than he agrees with the conservatives that he claims to be. Okay, so I'm going to keep on this, and I'm going to make sure that I am making as many ripples in this large pond that we are playing in as possible. And if you like this video, if you want me to continue on and be an advocate for our side, please do me a favor. Show me that you appreciate what I'm doing by subscribing. That way you don't miss out on any of the upcoming news and videos that we are going to be swamped with here in the near future. I appreciate the people who are supporting me right now. And if you have any disagreements, you like what I have to say, you don't like what I have to say, you have a different take on this situation, let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to find out what you guys think about this. Until the next video, I will see you. Bye. Thank you for watching this video. Ride IQ is a new channel, so please like, subscribe, and share this video with all of your friends, because we have to support each other if we're going to win this battle. And if you agree or disagree, please leave your comments below so that we can have that discussion together. And I'll see you on the next video.